Week one, college football is here. We sprinkled our toes a little bit last weekend with week 0. We had 4 games. I unfortunately watched all 4, but there's really only the one game of Florida State. We have a full slate this weekend. Full slate starting on Thursday, which is today. So, Ethan, it's been a long time. It's been a long time since we talked football, since we bet on football. I can't wait. Happy to have you here. How excited are you?
Cannot wait. We were talking before the show. I feel like I have anxiety, just like constant anxiety heading into football season, both college and pro. I just want to be like 3 weeks in and just have some, data behind us that we can lean on. And it's just an anxious time of year. You and I both expect to be so good when betting football in general. So it's just a new season brings some anxiety for both of us, I'm sure, but could not be more excited. Like you said, been a long time coming. I believe this is our first full year of Power 5 picks, if I remember correctly. I don't believe we started at the beginning of the year last year. So really excited to get the full 13-week regular season in our schedule here. And yeah, just ready to talk some college football and get into it.
Yeah, that's a great point about week one. A lot of games. My heart's already beating pretty fast. It might be the coffee I'm drinking at 7 p.m. at night. But there's a lot of unknowns week one. Like you said, it would be nice come week 3 when we actually kind of know what's going on with some of these teams. At the end of the day, no one really knows. Vegas puts out those lines. People are betting it from what they think's going to happen. There's a lot of unknowns for week one. So take it with caution. Like I always say, bet responsibly. Take it with caution. You don't have to bet every single game. You don't have to watch every single game. Even though, like me, I'm going to try to just take it with caution, slow down. There's a long season of football, so don't empty your load all at once. So as always, for Power 5 picks, we are picking out the top 5 games we think are the best games of the weekend, and we're going to dive in. We are going to keep track of our record diligently this year. So if you do wonder how we are doing, we will have our record under our names here. But the first game up is actually tonight. We have a Thursday game. It is not a ranked opponent, but in our mind, it is a close enough spread, close enough total here that has piqued our interest, and that is North Carolina at Minnesota. North Carolina is a 2-point favorite in this game. Over/under is sitting at 50.5. First game up, Ethan. What are you thinking?
Yeah, I mean, not a great game by any means, but it is probably the best game on Thursday night, and we're just so ready to get into it. Felt like we had to talk about this one, but I don't have a huge feel here. My initial lean is Minnesota in this game, plus the points or on the money line. I'm kind of looking to fade North Carolina this year after they lost Drake May, obviously, in the draft, first-round pick to the Patriots. But, I mean, UNC, they've had a good run here with good quarterback play recently, but I just, they're not really a football school. If you go back in history. And I think they regressed a little bit. They had an okay season last year. I think they went 8-5 or somewhere in that range. Minnesota had a down year last year. I believe they had a losing record. But they did have a winning record at home. So played a lot better at home than they did on the road. I think they only had one true road win last year. So I would lean Minnesota just because they're at home. They're catching points. And I'm kind of looking to fade UNC just in general throughout the year. I don't know if I'm going to make a play on this game. I also lean the under in this one. New quarterbacks, I believe, for both teams. I think it could take the offenses a while to gel. I love betting week 1 unders in every sport you could give me. Defenses it's easier on the defense week 1 typically to gel and play better than it is the offenses to get in a rhythm. So I would lean the under. If I do bet anything, it'd probably be a small wager just for action on that under. But lean the under, lean Minnesota. Don't love the game, but it's Thursday night football, week 1. Had to talk about it.
Yeah, this one's a tough one. I do have a play that I am probably going to bet, and that is as well as you is the under. There's a lot of sharp money coming in on the under. I am seeing bets are pretty high for the under, but the money is surpassing the bets by quite an amount. So I do think there is sharp action on the under. So my official play will be the under in this game. It's anywhere between 49.5 and 50.5 at the time of recording. In regards to the team and the spreads, who's going to win, I believe Minnesota opened as a 1-point favorite. I'm seeing North Carolina is now a 2-point favorite. So the lines moved about 3 points. Again, these lines are set. I have no idea when they open. Probably last freaking March. Who knows? But I do think you're right. I think North Carolina was, and even then last year they were a little overjuiced with Drake May. They underperformed. And I want to fade Minnesota because I think PJ Fleck is an idiot, and I don't think he's a great coach. But I think Minnesota on the spread will probably be my lean. But yeah, my official play is going to be the under in this game. Moving on to Saturday, we have our first ranked matchup, and that is a great showdown between number 14 Clemson and number 1 Georgia. This is a semi-neutral site. It's played at Mercedes-Benz Stadium in Atlanta, Georgia. So obviously in the state of Georgia, but not a home game for the Bulldogs. Clemson is a 13.5-point underdog. Over/under in this game is at 48.5. I'll take this one first. Tough, tricky game. This line is not budging. It has not budged all week. Georgia has been sticking at that 13.5-point favorite. I keep waiting for them to go to 14.5. It's not budging. And for that reason, I'm kind of liking the Clemson at the plus 13.5. That's going to be my official play. I'm obviously going to wait a little bit because I do think we're going to get 14.5 come kickoff. And if we don't, it's going to make me like Clemson even more because I know people are going to be pouring in on Georgia. If you guys watched our ACC preview, I was very high on Clemson this year. I did say to wait after week 1 when they would lose to Georgia. I don't think they're going to upset Georgia, but I think they're going to hang in there. And with Florida State losing week 0, the ACC is wide open for Clemson. So I like them to cover. I have no play on the total in this game, but I like Georgia, or sorry, I like Clemson at 13.5, hoping to get a 14.5 before kickoff.
Yeah, this is another game that I just don't love. As a fan, I love it. I'm going to love watching it. You and I both a little bit higher on Clemson this year than what we've been in the past. I'm going to lean Georgia minus the points here. And simply because, Clemson struggled a little bit last year, but ultimately kind of turned it on late in the year. They weren't playing for the college football playoff about halfway through the season last year. I know they lost to Duke. I believe that was week 1, and then lost another one pretty early on. Basically, were eliminated from the playoffs for most of that season. So I think they finished comfortably. They won their bowl game against Kentucky, I believe they played. Georgia, on the other hand, we just talked about in our SEC preview, got snubbed out of the playoffs with their one conference championship loss to Alabama. It came out with a vengeance against Florida State, absolutely buried them. I think that final was like 63-3, somewhere in that range, obviously without Jordan Travis for Florida State. But I just think Georgia felt disrespected last year. I think they kind of got their anger out there on Florida State, but I think they come into this one just a little bit more motivated to put a beat down on Clemson, get a nice statement win early, and kind of start off their season getting the respect they deserve. I think they just might feel a little bit disrespected after the decision to keep them out of the playoff last year. So it's a small lean for me on Georgia. I actually prefer the under again in this game, probably more than the side. 48.5 is what I'm seeing. I could be wrong. Is it 48.5 on DraftKings? Yeah, that feels low. And I think a lot of people are going to think that feels low. Again, Georgia, last time we saw them out, put up 63. I believe Clemson's final was I think it was 38-35 in their bowl game. So over 70 points scored in that game. And now we have less than 50 between the two. Georgia obviously has had a dominant defense for years and years. And I just mentioned it in the last game with offenses take a little bit of time to click. And defenses are a little bit stronger typically early on in the season. So, yeah, I like the under. I think it's going to be pretty public to go over in this one. Everyone's going to be watching it. The first really, really good game of the season. Everyone wants it to go over. They want to shoot out. So I'd wait until closer to kickoff. This might tick up to 49, which is a pretty key number. If you get 49.5, I like it quite a bit. But, I might have a play on the under in this one.
Yeah. From that great game, we have a battle of the state of Florida, and that is at 3:30 p.m. Eastern time on Saturday. And that is between number 19 Miami at Florida. Miami is a 2.5-point favorite, over under 54 points. I know you're pretty high on Miami. You were high on them in the ACC preview. I am very low on Florida. I want to fade Florida. I also kind of want to fade Miami as well. I'm going to send this one to you because I think I know where you're going, but I kind of like this game. I'm definitely going to bet this game. I just don't know if I'm going to love the side I'm going to choose.
Yeah, I like Miami. I think later in the season this would scream Florida to me, but yeah, I think we're pretty equal with we think Miami is going to probably do better than they did last season, and Florida I don't think is going to be a good team really at all this year. So I think if this game was played week 4, week 5, Miami might be closer to a 7 to 10 point favorite. So I think we're getting a nice line on Miami here, just because they did have some questions last year. We talked about it in our ACC preview where, they could have just kneed out that game last year against UCF or whoever. I forgot who they were playing. Ended up fumbling the football, losing that game. It sent their season into a complete tailspin. And they finished, I think, worse than where they would have had they just knelt out the clock, got the win, and moved on with some confidence off that game. So I think this is kind of low-hanging fruit, taking Miami in this one. I think the line is soft, just based on kind of the unknown. But yeah, I expect Miami to be quite a bit better than Florida at the end of the season. And I think if this game were getting played, any later in the year, I think it'd be quite a bit more than 2.5 favored to the U. So yeah, I like Miami here. That might make my card. I think it's a short line.
Yeah, again, fishy line. My only explanation for that is they're playing at the Swamp, and maybe it's week 1, very tough place to play. That's possibly why the line's so low. Miami has Ward, right? That's their quarterback.
Mm-hmm.
Ward, the Washington State transfer. Yeah, Miami again, great team, high hopes. Florida's going to be dog piss this year. Mertz, I think, is their quarterback still from Wisconsin, which throws more interceptions than completions. I want to fade both teams. Unfortunately, I would lean Florida at the +2.5, but my official play, and I actually kind of like it the more I'm looking at it here, is the over of this game at 54 points. I think Miami has a lot to prove this year. I think a big win at Gainesville would be a massive win on their resume to start the season. Could help propel them in the right direction early. But I also think Florida is going to battle as well in this game. So both teams not really known for their defense as of late. Maybe Miami in 2003, but not in the last 20 years. Same thing with Florida. So I actually kind of like the over quite a bit. I think it's going to be very high scoring. So that is going to be my official play, is the over of 54. Might have to. I haven't looked at the splits at all on the total. I know the splits for the spread are pretty 50-50. Can't really read a whole lot there. I would have to take a little closer look at the splits on the total, but I like the over quite a bit just looking at it here. So over a 54, I would probably lock that in sooner rather than later because it's only going to go up. That's how overs work. But yeah, I think that's going to be a pretty high scoring contest. Moving on to a ranked matchup, our second of the weekend. This is at 7:30 p.m. on Saturday. It is Notre Dame, number 7, at Texas A&M, who's number 20. A&M is a 3-point favorite. Over under in this game is a low 46.5. Oh, this one's my least favorite of the weekend. Notre Dame is the most bet underdog to win outright this weekend. There is sharp money on the under. Makes sense being the total of 46.5. Whew. Tough. I am going to have to go with the under here at 46.5 as my official play. I want to take A&M on the money line, but I believe they're up to like almost minus 160 outright on the money line. Don't love. I think A&M's frauds. I think Notre Dame is the much better team. I'm a little, again, concerned about them being the most bet underdog to win outright. Hate betting that. Hate betting the most bet team. So I like the under. Notre Dame, great defense. A&M had absolutely no offense like they had in years prior. Last year's offense was miserable. I don't think they're going to be a whole lot better this year. I think being ranked 20 is extremely generous for Texas A&M. I'm guessing that the 3-point spread's due to the home field advantage as well. Pretty rowdy stadium there, but yeah, it's got to be the under. 46.5 is going to be my play. Don't love this game at all, though.
Yeah, I love the under. I love A&M. The 3, it's getting up there. I think this game opened as a pick 'em way back in like June or whenever these lines actually officially came out. So I don't know if I can quite lay the 3 with A&M. I would shop around, try to get a cheaper money line. If you get like a minus 145 or lower, I think I would like that quite a bit. Didn't know that Notre Dame was the most bet underdog to win outright. It makes a ton of sense, obviously, but I like that as well. But yeah, I think the under in this game, I think the defenses are going to prevail. Huge thing here, Riley Leonard takes over at quarterback for Notre Dame, the Duke transfer, and Texas A&M new coach Mike Elko was his coach at Duke. So I think he has the inside scoop on Riley Leonard, obviously, working with him for the last couple of years. So I think that's going to help A&M here defensively. I think it's going to hurt Riley Leonard and Notre Dame's offense, which is kind of a play on both A&M and the under. Like you said, all the sharp money is coming in on the under. Yeah, everything for me. I think A&M. I think A&M is going to be decent this year, but I'm looking for Notre Dame to not do too well. I think like 8-4 is kind of their sweet spot this year of where Notre Dame's going to end up. So I'm kind of looking to fade Notre Dame throughout the season. I wouldn't be shocked if A&M has a decent year. So yeah, I like A&M quite a bit in this game. I really do like the under. I don't think Notre Dame's going to put up too many points. I think they keep it under 20 for sure. Yeah, I could see A&M winning this one like 24-17.
That brings us to our Sunday night game. Yes, you heard me correct. We have a Sunday night ranked matchup. Again, great weekend. Great next little couple days we have ahead of us. This is at a neutral site. So, yes, LSU, number 13, is considered the home team, but it's played in Las Vegas. So, you do the math on how far away Las Vegas is from Louisiana, or they're playing number 23 USC, Southern Cal, Los Angeles to Las Vegas, much closer. But again, LSU is considered the home team. LSU is the most bizarre line movement, I think, of the ranked teams by far. Is down to a 4-point favorite here. Over under is 64. I have already placed a bet on this game, and I think you already know what it is. I'm going to send it to you first.
Yeah, I know exactly what your bet is. I don't know what to make of it. I mean, I think you're on the sharp side for sure, but my gut tells me LSU in this game, and I don't love it. I don't love anything in this game, but LSU. I think I was telling you maybe last week. I've lost money each of the last 2 years on their first game of the season, both as a favorite, both against Florida State. I lost them 2 years ago when I was in Vegas. I bet it when I was pretty inebriated at the pool. And then last year it was just my revenge tour. I thought I'd get them back. Didn't happen. Found out today they've actually lost each of their last 4 opening day games as a favorite, which I think is 4 consecutive years. So I think that could have something to do with the money coming in on USC. But I just don't believe in USC whatsoever. Until I see any ounce of defense from that team, it's going to be almost impossible for me to back them. Obviously, losing Caleb Williams, who I think we both faded quite a bit last year. We weren't huge Caleb Williams fans, but I mean, that is going to be quite a loss to USC here. So, yeah, it's tough. I don't have a play in this game yet. We're going to see how Saturday goes, see if I can get some more information between now, which it is Wednesday night when we're recording this, and Sunday night. So, yeah, I wish I could give you more. I lean LSU. I don't have a play on the total. But the line movement is fishy, and, yeah, I've been burned by LSU week 1 a couple times already. Don't think I have the guts to play on them.
Yeah. Unfortunately, it's USC for me. I got them at the plus 4.5. I believe this line opened at 6. They have dropped despite bets coming in on LSU. Again, it makes sense. USC, no quarterback. USC, no defense. LSU, also new quarterback, but Neusmeyer, whatever his name was, played a decent amount last year with Daniels being semi-injured a couple games. So, yeah, I hate USC. I can't stand these cowards. I guess the smart play would probably just throw the money on the over, even though everyone's on it. I mean, LSU can score like no other, and USC can't stop anything. So yeah, unfortunately, it's USC. The line movement is screaming to me. It's I think the sharpest play of the weekend. So unfortunately, it is also the ugliest. But USC plus 4.5 is going to round off my my bets for the regular weekend. We do have a Monday special coming out because we have a Monday game. Again, great weekend. I'm so glad they did this. I think they did it last year too, but 5 consecutive straight days of football: Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday. Check out our Monday preview. That is between Boston College and Florida State. Can Florida State get revenge? Maybe. Are they going to be a massive team to fade this year? Could also very well be true there. But thank you guys for tuning in. Again, I'm very excited. My heart rate's going crazy. Like Ethan said, we have a lot of anxiety ahead of the weekend. Also, follow us on Twitter. I know we give out our bets on this show, but mine's changed. We do record Wednesday nights. We are going to keep our record based on what we say on the show, but our tweets may vary differently as well. So if you want more before or closer to game time bets, make sure you do follow us over on Twitter because sometimes our minds do change. I will say I already locked in the USC, so that one unfortunately cannot change. But Ethan, do you have anything to add before we close out here?
Yeah. No, just thanks for tuning in, guys. We look forward to a full season. Our first full season of Power 5 Picks. We'll be here every single week or weekend talking about the games ahead. And yeah, I just cannot wait. We're going to obviously have Intentional Lounging, our NFL video coming out, starting our 3rd season. That'll be next week when the NFL games begin. And then, yeah, I mean, we still have Tapping Vegas with Ben and Bobby. We have a ton of shows coming up as the sports keep rolling in with college basketball, NHL, NBA, as we get further into the year. But right now, football is king. It's here. It's right in front of us. It's best time of the year. Yeah, I'm just too excited for it.
Yeah, and again, make sure you keep an eye out for our Monday special. Until then, guys, good luck on all your bets. Please like, subscribe. It really helps us out. Hopefully you guys have a great weekend, and we will see you on Monday.
You better start listening to the Better in Green podcast. You will not regret it. Trust me, trust me, trust me. And hey, I'm Dean Blandino.
Welcome, welcome, welcome to Better in Green, eh? To Better in Green, eh? To Better in Green, eh? Listen in and cash out. That's what it's all about. Come on, let's make cash now. We always on spot and we cover all spots from the bottom to the top. Hey, shout out to Ethan, shout out to Wyatt, shout out to Ben. Welcome, welcome to our podcast. Better in Green.